Oh, wait, that's the wrong place I'm looking.
Yeah, there's no.
All right, hang on a sec here.
Who else is
No.
in this committee?
Alexi, Laura, John Fisher. Looks like Dennis is, but he's not going to make it. That's who I know of here. All right, here's this. Let's see here. What was your morning like dealing with snow?
It was actually really fun.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, our daycare opened at 10, so we just played in the snow for a few hours. It's really fun.
That's good. Okay, there's Laura. Something, I gotta fix my camera. Switch camera. There we go. There we go.
Laura, have you heard from anyone else?
I think I just saw an email from Dennis saying he can't come. Let's see, I didn't.
Yes, that's correct.
Dennis can't come. Ian's not. So I guess John and Alexi.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Ian asked me to fill in for him today
Okay.
with getting this going.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You two look alike today. You got your hair pulled back, you got your gray hoodies on, you got
Laura, are your kids in school today, or is
Nope,
4J's
school's-
closed, right?
4J's closed. Yep.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, the
Kind
snow
of.
is pretty nice right now. I hope it might get icy later, but hopefully.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I could
it's
see tomorrow being pretty gnarly, or tonight, but
Yeah.
I haven't been out of the house yet. It's just a little bit of snow here, which is kind of nice because usually that'll disappear pretty fast. You get the fun of it and then it just goes away. But
yeah.
is there much out on the roads?
It was a little hard getting down to the main roads, but once my husband was the one who dropped off the kids. Once he got to like Willamette Street, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we don't join, should we cancel? Because
yeah, just two of us.
yeah,
We could talk, but
yeah.
maybe we should. I don't know. We could, but yeah.
I think we should probably just cancel if they.
Yeah. Let's
yeah,
see, what time is it now? It's 35, 36. Give them a minute or two, but yeah.
Yeah.
Could you guys just kind of update me, like where's the committee at, and like sort of what do you?
Yeah, so we're doing we have two kind of topics. One is gas powered leaf blowers and the other is artificial turf. And
Okay.
within those two groups, we're doing a memo to council about what other communities are doing in terms of regulating these I don't know, products is not the right word, but and so we kind of looked at what's happening around the country and broke them into like strategies. And like Jan and I, and we broke ourselves into two groups. So Jan and I are on artificial turf, and like we looked, the strategies that we found were just outright banning it, a moratorium, or banning certain of the most problematic ingredients. Like some communities have banned PFAS, and turf contains PFAS, so that therefore it's banned too until it can maybe be creative without it. And then another communities have banned like the crumb rubber infill, which makes tons of microplastics. So we kind of just laid out like what communities are doing, and then we made a recommendation. So for that one, our recommendation is moratorium, because that can prevent new installations from going in, but it leaves the door open for the industry to create a product that is non-toxic, and also recyclability. That was something that we looked into because they're not recyclable.
A moratorium on PFAS or crumb rubber or all of it?
We just said artificial turf. That was like at our last meeting, but I was assuming we would kind of talk more about it today. So, you know, just that was what, yeah, and I'd be curious to hear what you think, because out of the different things communities were doing, that seemed like the kind of most strategic way to prevent the most harm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, then like just a ban, because I don't know, bans are harder to do and they're not popular and there's a lot of pushback. But if it's a moratorium that's just like flagging these concerns and asking for more time to.
What's the difference between a moratorium and a ban?
Moratorium is like a 3-year, like, so it's basically like a 3-year ban. So
pause.
Yeah, it's a pause, and that way, you know, like if the industry,
because there are all these unresolved issues with the product right now, and unknown, and means what we do know isn't good, but there are, you know, there are people saying, oh, well, you can do it without PFAS. Well, nobody's really shown that, demonstrated that yet effectively, but it's conceivable that within a few years that could be. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like kind of pause for now because there's really no viable products that are good.
Right.
But foreseeably the market may change, and so kind of revisit. Yeah, that seems like a sage recommendation.
Yeah, and then Jan, do you want to talk about where we're at with the leaf blowers, even though neither one of us were?
I think where we are is we're looking at recommending discontinuing of leaf blowers. I think we still have to be a little more, we have to figure that out, some more specifics on that, what that means, you know, because we haven't like talked about timing or anything like that. So we are working on both the recommendation email, memo to council, and then on both of them we're working on some kind of an informational piece, a background piece for community, but those are a little rougher. Yeah.
Are you in the policy memo for gas powered leaf blowers, are you including what Portland did?
Yeah. Laura, you want to talk about that? Because that was
yeah, and John and Alexia are doing that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
They found Portland and then Lake Oswego. I think that was another community. John had contacted their sustainability department because they're in the process of doing a ban right now. And yeah, and so I think our recommendation is similar to Portland, trying to keep consistency within the state.
Right.
And Portland also had like a lot of education and promotion and like ways to help people learn about alternatives.
There's sort of a phase out, like a slow phase out over a few years. That sounds good.
The details, but
it was a couple of years. There's like a partial phase out by next year, or there's a phase out or a not ban and stopping, but with some exceptions, and then in 4 years no exceptions. The exceptions go away. Yeah. Laura, I don't know if you had a chance to look. Did you see the parts I added, which reflected some conversations that we've had, but we haven't really talked too much about it in the committee, about if we could have some sort of either buyback incentives or some sort of incentives for people to get new electric things, or some kind of a recognition program where we would, you know, help to compile the names of contractors who are using green practices, so that
Mhm.
people can be, it's a little bit of a boost to them to help them. So I just thought I'd throw that stuff in there so we could get around to talking about it. But I'm not sure if that's the appropriate time to raise that or not. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I didn't, I was thinking, I didn't go back and look through.
Okay,
I was thinking we would like, do
talk
it
about it.
together.
Yeah,
But
yeah, sure.
yeah, so
Okay. All right. Well, we definitely can do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
Well, as an immediate action item, I put time on the agenda next week at the full commission meeting for committee updates. And I've been a part of the Clean and Reliable one. They're planning to do an update. They're sort of in a similar place. Like they've got draft memos, a draft memo that's in still kind of rough shape, and then an outward facing document that's actually coming along pretty well. They're not ready to bring them to the commission yet, but I think they'll share like where they're at on those and sort of what the message is that they're trying to get out. Education and Outreach Committee hasn't met yet, but they're planning
No.
to meet next Tuesday for the first time. So foreseeably they will have an update for Wednesday night. So if you guys want to give one of you, Laura, maybe since you're the chair, if
Laura,
you want to
yeah.
give an update on
Sure.
this committee, I think that would be great.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so timing wise, then I guess if we could get these things shaped up in time to get to the next meeting.
Yeah, that would be good.
So again, we have to give ourselves some deadlines and
Yeah.
figure out when we need those in the packet and all of that jazz. If assuming we can use some time, I think that's what we were shooting for, right? March.
The March meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the outward facing document for the Clean and Reliable Energy Committee is probably gonna be ready by the March meeting. The policy memo is probably gonna be coming in April.
Mm.
So we may
Mhm.
sequence those. I don't know. I guess it'll depend when the committee's all kind of like, we could just batch them all together and block out like 45 minutes during a meeting to kind of talk about all of them, or do one committee and then the next committee the next month, depending on. So just keep me informed, like as your documents
Okay.
come, shape up. And I think staff would be happy to like review them. I think me and Ian, we can help just kind of
That'd be great.
frame things for council and stuff. But we do need a few weeks to do that. So just keep that in mind, I guess.
Okay. And Danielle, what do you think about the like the kind of public information document that we're talking about making?
Mhm.
I was working on it and I feel still uncertain about the usefulness of it, and should we just
About the one about turf?
yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
both of them. Like, do we, and Jan, what do you think too? Like, because there's so much information, like it's
Right.
good to not be so wordy. And
That's why I wondered, like I said, I wasn't sure what what my notes to myself meant by the time I got back to them.
yeah.
But when I started looking at things, I thought, well, maybe we can find something that's reputable enough that we can just say, here's what so-and-so has published about this, and here's a background. So if people want to understand a little bit, what are the pros and cons, but we don't necessarily have to make up our own new version of it, right?
Yeah.
If we found something. So I went through it pretty quickly, but there was that one that I liked. There were a couple others that are interesting documents, but I didn't think they were quite as good at summarizing some of the basic issues that so yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure that there's a need for us to make our own local one necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of, yeah, because it's like the average homeowner probably isn't thinking like, I'm gonna go get turf, but
Right.
some probably are.
Yeah.
Some,
Like,
a few, yeah.
Yeah, there are people who like, they don't want to mow, they don't want to water. But it's like more the message is like, instead of it's like plant native plants, like
Right.
put in a rock garden. I don't, so, but then that sort of opens up a whole nother
Right.
can of.
Yeah, to me, some of
Ew.
the list had some of that, or maybe that was more on the leaf blower thing, like positive things you can do in your yard. I thought, well, that's just a whole nother deal. That's great,
Yeah.
but that's not. And so it just seemed to me, well, I'm trying to look for this. Where was this? So this one was from blip, 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 blip. Clean water, cleanwater.org, clean water action. And I guess I didn't do any research on who they are, but it's turf is artificial, but the harm is real. What is synthetic turf? Plastic, the key ingredient and global contaminant. Opposition is growing. What are things to do if you're using it? I don't know. Maybe this is not the one, but something, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I think just for people to go, well, what's the matter with if we start talking, if we propose this and the council starts talking about it, well, what's the problem? Isn't it easier to, this one, this, I don't think is the one that I was thinking of, because it doesn't have, the other one talked about like pros and cons of maintenance, you doing more intense natural maintenance as opposed to this. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just think
You don't necessarily need to have an outward facing one. I mean, I think if the goal of this committee was kind of to I mean, and maybe what I'm remembering is kind of like to better inform council about the harms, as the city moves towards like making a fairly big decision.
Right.
And so, and providing some potential like policy options that other cities have done. So I think a policy memo to council kind of like achieves that goal the best.
Yeah. We were thinking too of putting it with the edge, like when people are tabling, like it would be nice since we worked on this to have something. That was something where that came out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the call to action for the public then like, don't use artificial turf?
I don't know that there was a call for action, because again, I don't think the general public is going to be that big of a factor. This is more about using it in parks and fields and stuff, right? So that doesn't make me think, though, I don't know that that the memo at all refers to Golden Gardens, that there's some upcoming big decisions to be made. We should probably mention that.
Did we make a letter about Golden Gardens to council? Is that?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Should our committee do that?
Well, we haven't like done a vote on it or anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking you to. I know we're not going to decide today, but
yeah, no. But I mean, we'd have to. So to me, that could be a part of taking this information back to the commission as a whole. If we're saying we're recommending a moratorium, that would include on Golden Gardens, and so maybe whatever. I do think it's important to specify that.
Well, and I mean, but I also think like Golden Gardens, like they're not planning to put in artificial turf anytime soon. Like they don't even have the money to build this park yet. So like,
oh really?
It's sort of like, I mean, and the full build out of what they've kind of proposed is like a 15 to 25 year project.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think.
But it was on the,
although
the plan. The plan went out, the draft.
I know, and so it is like the plan, but like the material that they're going to use like hasn't been decided yet.
Right. Well, when they came to the commission, we didn't talk a lot about timelines, but it's interesting. I had a feeling that it was moving along faster than that, and at some point they were going to come back to us within the next year and say, here's what we're finding, and we were going to give them our recommendation or whatever. So I don't know when it's going to get implemented, but it does feel like the conversation is continuing this year, right?
Yeah, and that might be a way to think about it. So like they're not going to council yet, and I don't think it's a council decision. Like I don't think they've decided yet. They're gonna come back to the commission before they do make a decision.
Right.
That's probably not going to come back to the commission until next fiscal year. So now might be a good time just to like raise council's awareness about like the toxicity, the harm, the
Mm-hmm.
current, that there's not really like good alternatives right now. And then like next year, maybe when the staff have kind of landed on what they're planning to do, then that might be the time for the commission to make take a position.
Mhm.
And then it would show that you guys have been like tracking this, you've been a part of the conversation, you've been monitoring like both what the city's doing, what other cities are doing, what the product market availabilities are, to be able to like take a position that's like might be against what the city's doing or might be supportive, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Makes sense.
because I think they're looking at, they've definitely ruled out crumb rubber.
Have they?
Yeah, and they're looking at like cork.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some newer cork
Yeah,
based
yeah.
and like walnut shell based or something.
Yeah. Yeah. We've heard that.
But I don't know how much farther they've gone down that road.
They still have other issues, but yes, they are looking at other things with other kinds of infill now. Interesting. All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, what do you think? Do we need, Laura, to try to set up another meeting short of one a month from now?
Yeah, I guess 2 weeks from now, because next week we have the commission meeting.
Commission.
So, but we can't quite do it without Ian's calendar and
Right. So maybe
What do you-
just start an email
yeah.
to
Do you
ask.
want to you don't want to wait till March? Well, I guess that's March 13th is the next one.
Yeah, I think we need to meet before and so we can
Okay.
finish it.
So it would be February 27th if we went with 2 weeks.
Let me see, can I even do that? February 27th. Yeah, I could do that.
Well, why don't you just float that with Ian and the rest of the group, and then we'll see what happens. And meanwhile, I'll go back and look through those other documents again, because I think maybe I linked the wrong one. See if I can find that one I was thinking of.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Sounds good.
I just got a note that another meeting I had later today has been canceled. So I guess it's just time to go out and build a snowman or something.
Yeah. Get out there. I know, I kind of want to go on a little walk.
It's so pretty out.
Absolutely.
Pretty.
All right. Have a good day, y'all.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Yeah.